Some see Confederate monuments as symbols of hate, others a part of history. Violent protests over one in Charlottesville reignited a movement to take them down 6 months ago. Our Special Assignment Unit asks the question, where are they now? Investigative reporter Eric Flack spent weeks tracking down the answer. He discovered undisclosed locations, unanswered questions, and uncertainty about what happens next.
As the nation watched, madness turned to mourning in Charlottesville, Virginia. Racial tensions explode at a white nationalist rally held in the shadow of Confederate statues. 3 people died, and a movement to remove monuments to the Confederacy is reborn. 6 months later,
there's still a lot of passions on both sides.
The WUSA9 Special Assignment Unit hits the road.
Yeah, imagine they would be high targets for vandalism.
To answer one central question.
So they ripped it down. The question is, where do they put it back up?
We traveled hundreds of miles over weeks of research to find out. In Ellicott City, Maryland, the debate dates back decades. The NAACP called for the removal of this Confederate plaque from the Howard County Courthouse as far back as the 1990s. But it wasn't until after Charlottesville that it actually came down.
Now, it seems like storage in a historical society would be very glamorous, but unfortunately this is as glamorous as it gets.
Looks like my garage.
This is where that plaque is today.
There it is.
The Confederate Memorial.
Can we see it?
We find the 2x3 metal tablet covered in bubble wrap, sitting on the basement floor of the Howard County Historical Society. One day it will probably end up as part of the Historical Society's Civil War exhibit, but that day isn't coming anytime soon. 6 months after the memorial was taken down, there's no immediate plans to put it back on display.
There was a discussion to, let's not put this thing up right away. Let's kind of let some of the passions die down a little bit.
Our investigation discovered all 6 of the Confederate-era monuments in our area, taken down after Charlottesville, remain in storage, far from public view.
5 of them now housed in secret locations, including one in Annapolis. This statue of former Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney, author of the infamous Dred Scott decision reaffirming slavery, was moved from the Maryland State House last August.
We learned it is now being kept at an undisclosed Maryland State Archives facility. The best we could do is get the archives to send us a single photo of the monument as it stands in storage today.
A spokesperson adding, no decision has been made about whether it will be displayed publicly ever again. From Annapolis to Baltimore, where 4 Confederate monuments were taken down over riot fears.
All that remains now is the empty, vandalized bases where the statues once stood. Just like the state of Maryland, Baltimore also refused to show the WUSA9 Special Assignment Unit where they moved those monuments, citing security concerns.
The mayor's office so secretive about their location, it blocked Eric Holcomb, the city's director of historic preservation, from giving us a video of the statues in storage, even after Holcomb agreed to do just that. This as he leads a team trying to find somewhere to put those monuments.
It's very hard. We have a glut of Confederate monuments on the market right now, and it's a hot potato.
Meanwhile, several other Confederate statues across our area remain in place and in limbo.
The statue of Robert E. Lee that was at the heart of those violent protests here in Charlottesville is still standing, but it's covered in that black tarp, which it has been for months, as a way to memorialize the 3 people who died that day. A couple blocks away, this statue of Stonewall Jackson is in the exact same condition. Everyone here awaiting the outcome of this lawsuit blocking the city's order to take the Confederate monuments down. As to what would happen to the monuments if they ever do get taken down, the city isn't commenting. And consider this, one of the biggest collections of Confederate monuments in the entire nation is right here at the U.S. Capitol, where there are 12 Confederate statues in the Statuary Hall collection. That's 3 times as many statues of African Americans.
Politicians have introduced bills to try and take the Confederate statues out of the Capitol, as well as removing others from Judiciary Square and Old Town Alexandria. But those efforts have been slowed by existing laws blocking their removal. In fact,
2 proposals to allow local Virginia governments to move Confederate statues or memorials died in the State House just this week, frustrating people like Kenneth McGee.
I'm not for destroying the statues, I'm for putting it in a museum in its proper place.
Finding that proper place, often a monumental achievement. Eric Flack, WUSA9.
2 Confederate monuments in our area have been successfully relocated, but both were moved before the violence in Charlottesville. We made multiple interview requests to the Daughters of the Confederacy, the group that erected many of the statues around the turn of the century. That organization did not respond.